social distancing might have you feeling like you are living on another planet. Carrie Saldo asked former NASA astronaut and Shelburne Falls resident Catherine Cady Coleman to share some tips for how she stayed well during her time in space.
Well, it's the most wonderful place to be. And, in some ways, you feel so close to everyone on Earth. When you look down, you see, literally everybody on Earth, all your friends and family are there. You just can't get there. And at the same time, you're in this amazing place where you fly everywhere and it's beautiful and wonderful and magical. But basically, I wake up in the morning, open the door of my cabin, fly through the lab, hook a right to go into the module where I might brush my teeth and everything else. And basically, after, I guess, about 5 minutes after I've woken up, I am at work and talking to mission control on the radio and things like that. So it's a very short commute, but kind of a far away place to be.
Sure, to commute, yeah, you fly right to the office, like you said. But on a given day, how many people would you interact with? Any in person?
There are 6 of us who are up there. And that is usually, it's an international crew. It's usually 3 Russians, in our case, 2 Americans and an Italian. And there's no special recipe where they go, oh, these people, they'll do so nicely together. NASA's putting the right skills, the right time in somebody's career, all those things. And they hire professionals who are going to make it work. And that's actually what I would, want to communicate to people, is that it's not that they picked us and it was easy for us. We're all different. We're all well-behaved in many cases and not so well-behaved. Just like your family at home. And sometimes I wish I could bring my space lessons, back into my own house, and have myself, be at a higher standard there too. And I think what really helps is to think about the mission. And up there, it's clear that the mission is more important than whether we wish somebody up there was different and than they really are. And it's easy to just go, oh, okay, that guy, it's just going to be like that. And yet here, in your family, sometimes it's easier to think those things. And I think if you can just think of the mission, which in this case, we're all on a mission together to keep each other safe. And I think that what can be frustrating, but is actually a little parallel from the space program, is that I know in my heart that every little step, every minute that I spent doing experiments up there brought us one step closer to going back to the moon and Mars. You don't really feel that every day, just like, here in my house, washing my hands, encouraging others to do that, not getting together with people just because, well, couldn't we just do it this way? Our mission is hard right now, but I think focusing on the mission, which is to keep each other safe, is what's going to get us there.
To your point about maybe not remembering every day that broader picture, but when you did remember that broader picture, how much it helped you, sound like, to ground you and just keep you focused. How is there a tip or a trick that you could pass along to the public that they could apply maybe to their daily lives now, how they could stay focused on that, as you put it, the larger mission of fighting COVID-19?
There's ways that everybody says, oh, you should do this and you should, and yet they're hard to do. And things like keeping a record. I mean, and I think being accountable to somebody is something that at least helps me. Down here on the ground, I'm back in the same boat as everybody else, and thinking that during this time, I will exercise more, I will eat better. I'd like to get better at playing the flute. I've always meant to learn Chinese. I mean, these things, given that everybody stays healthy in my family, are on my list. And but I have like a little contract with my trainer. She sends a workout, and I text back when I'm done with it. And I totally need that accountability. And the same thing with with other things you're working at. I encourage you to find a partner, maybe not somebody in your house. And also, when you're interacting with people on the outside, if you can, do some FaceTime, do something where you get to really feel that person, because it can be, it's very isolating to be alone as we are. And I think the more you can bring in feelings, and which I think has to do with seeing people and practically feeling them, the better off you'll be.
How important was it for you to have that interpersonal connection, even though you were so far away from home, just to have that FaceTime or the Skype, as you point out? What did that do for you?
Ironically, up on the space station when I was there, we could call home actually every day, 40 minutes a day, if we really had time to do that. I could call any place on Earth. They couldn't call me, but I could call them. I spoke with my family every day but 3 of the almost 6 months that I lived up there. And that meant the world to me. And also my girlfriends, the people that you go, oh, he did this, he did it again, or I'm so frustrated that this is happening. I'm somebody that once I get that venting out of my system, it really helps me to process. And yet we only had video once a week with our families. So it was kind of this planned event, had to be at a certain time. So it's a little fascinating for me to see how much I'm lucky enough to have a computer where I have video and to have friends and coworkers that have the same. Not everyone has that. But I'm amazed how much sort of bigger it makes the world and how much less lonely I am.
You trained for isolation. People here who are grappling with dealing with the coronavirus right now didn't have that training. Do you think that that's what's causing some of the unease that people are feeling, the fact that it happened so quickly?
I think people should sort of acknowledge and own the fact that this is hard. Just this past weekend, I meant to do, more than I actually got done. And yet when I look back, I go, maybe I just needed that break. Realize that we all process in different ways. And that means, I do, you do, our families do. And some of those ways of processing are not going to be entirely likable or easy to be with. And just to really own the fact that what we're doing together is hard, and really give yourself some space to realize that.
To the point that I mentioned earlier that you did train for isolation, can you share a few tips with us, those who haven't trained for the brave new world that we're operating under right now, that you could pass along that maybe have helped to people?
Well, I trained in 2 kind of separate ways. One was my wild NASA adventures. I got to live underwater for 11 days in a habitat. I got to go to Antarctica for 2.5 months, and 6 weeks of that I was living in a tent with one other person. There were 4 of us total, 200 miles from the South Pole. And then, of course, the space station and a few other training kind of exercises. So that's my NASA part of doing that. I also commuted from Western Massachusetts down to Houston for 24 years. And those last couple of years when I was training for the space station, I'd be in Russia, I'd be in Japan or Europe or Canada. And even training in Houston wasn't home for me. And what I found was interesting was, I was married, we had a family, and we have a family. And people would say, well, how is that? Because there was sort of this implication it can't really be enough. It's so different, it can't be enough. And I find it interesting that basically all of us are having to cope with what is the new normal. It doesn't mean the new forever, but the new normal for right now. And realize that just because you don't get to physically be close, we found some ways doing homework with my kid over Skype, actually. Reading books, making sure that I, saved some of the telling of my day for my husband. These are some techniques that helped us be closer. And not having had that luxury, I would say, think about every day, hey, what did I learn today? What did I learn about myself? And what did I learn about someone else? And you don't have to write it down. You could speak it into your phone. You can jot a few notes, but record those things. And I think doing that will help you realize that every day we're growing and learning and getting better at this new normal.
Does it get easier with practice? Is there hope for people, as we continue to do this? We're hopeful that it may only be weeks or months, but there's a possibility that we may face something similar even next year. Does this get better with practice?
It certainly gets better with practice. But I think the other suggestion that I have is, and it's hard to do. Change is hard. You want things to be just the way they were. I would like them to be. But it's going to be a while, and we don't know how long. And I like to really sort of be present where I am. And I think that these unfortunate circumstances actually open up some wildly big and great opportunities. What can you do now that you couldn't do before? and to spend just some tiny portion of your day brainstorming about what could I do now that wasn't possible. I see groups of people that have never even spoken to each other, let alone thought of working together, are creating, masks and respirators and, and figuring out how to finance and distribute food and all these things that need done. People are working together that have never worked together before, and that is pretty wonderful. And that's actually my view of the world, having seen it from far away, is for people to think that it's so important they're from different places, when to me it was so clear that everyone was connected. So I know it's hard to do, but think of the possibilities and aggressively move forward and grab those. It doesn't mean you're leaving yesterday behind, never to be seen, but reach for some of those cool things that only you can see.